and welcome back to the LCS NACL. Another team eliminated here in our lower bracket as we did
Pour one out.
Pour one out. I'm not taking the cap off. Pour one out.
Me neither.
None of us did. None of us did. We all got our waters and just...
We have too much time before we send off to draft for me to actually spill water over our floor. But the thought is there, wild card, I promise. It's sad to see them go, but at the same time, everyone except for one team, we do have to bid farewell to at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
That's how playoffs work, yeah.
That's how playoffs work. They did get that second life here in this double lip tournament, but unfortunately, I mean, wild card, they've expended both their lives. They are out of the picture now, but they still have a lot to be happy about with how far they came throughout this split, shattering all of our expectations, by the way, along with Cincinnati Fear.
Props out to them. They had a great story, a great journey. They got top 8 as a professional team. They've avoided the relegation tournament. They will be guaranteed it in the summer. They have so much to be proud of, and I feel like this team, especially if they can, like the core, if they keep this whole team together, they can continue to improve in the offseason, go into summer, and continue to be this team that we have to continue to praise.
Yeah, and the fact that they don't have to worry about that promotion and regulation tournament going on forward is fantastic, because now they can look ahead at summer and look to improve, because we've definitely gotten to see a lot of great things from this team, but to say that no team doesn't need improvements, I mean, it's just a lie. There's always something these teams can do better, so I'm really excited to see going on forward what they're capable of, but that's now for Summer Split. We still have another series on the day, and still another team that we're going to be saying goodbye to is Team Liquid Challengers and Golden Guardians Challengers are going to be facing off in our lower bracket. Team Liquid, of course, their
Number 9.
Their regular split run was a little bit wonky, and APA had a couple of thoughts about that.
Well, I think the standings from regular season were fake. Like, just to put it bluntly, like, I don't think we're a 9th place team. I think we're much, much higher than that. I think we're contending for the title, so I think it was just, like, I won't say unlucky because it's our doing, but, like, not our best showing in regular season, and I think we're coming to win the title.
I love that. Like, the seeding's fake. Hey, there's a couple of teams I think that would actually also agree. We touched on that with FlyQuest.
Yeah.
Going a little further down that seeding line than maybe we would have liked in Team Liquid. It's definitely a team that we've thought really highly of, Magical.
Yeah, I mean, Team Liquid, we came into the split. Sure, only Bradley, the 2-time champ, still reigning here in playoffs, is a part of this team. But this team had a lot going for it. They had the tryouts that everyone watched with bated breath, kind of looking at how they are going to formulate this team. They put so much time and effort and how they wanted to build around this team. And they continue to be a team that we want to look at, especially Bradley, on how they're going to perform. But the biggest thing is how much more competitive it seems this split has been than previous.
It definitely really, really is. And we mentioned APA's thoughts about the seeding wasn't the only thing that he had thoughts about as we look ahead to our series up against this Golden Guardians roster.
So we've actually scrimmed them a lot. And I think within the recent scrims that I've seen, we're just going to destroy them with 2-0.
Simply put, we're just going to destroy them 2-0 based off of the scrims. I don't know if we can always trust scrims, though, beatdown, because, I mean, it's something that we've talked about.
The cat, no!
It's a different cat. It's a different cat. If my computer goes, I am so sorry.
That was so funny.
But beatdown, I mean, CLG was also a team that we looked a lot to for how their scrims went, and that ended up not faring true. So who's to say with Golden Guardians, even if TLC is able to 2-0 in scrims, that's how it's going to go down today?
Right, that was actually, I talked to APA and said something. He said something similar today about this Golden Guardians roster. And I mean, we talked about its scrim win rates. They're not real, in my opinion. And this is a tough roster that TLC are going to have to contend with. I mean, we have Array and Concept's second chance here at Golden Guardians with all the nonsense that happened. Yeah, last year, Rosethorn's returned to this level of play. And of course, Prismal in his second year as support. This is a team where early on, They had some struggles, but they really started to come into their own, and we knew this team was really going to be something when they split the series with Cloud9, who were amazing from start to finish. They're a team that plays super fast, for better or worse, and they love to fight.
And a lot of that you can see from like the clips that we've put together are off the back of Prismal in his sophomore year as a support, having role swap from ADC into the supportive role because of the shot calling he has. Well, a lot of that is we're fighting now. We're going and we're looking for these plays. Like, I love how he just leads the charge of Tom Kench instead of just hanging around his ADC like a lot of other Tom Kenches are. He's like, nah, I'm about initiating. We're about fighting here. We're not just protecting you. Ray, you'll be fine on your own. You've got this. I believe in you.
I love that. I believe in you, just as the final words going into that. But then if we're focusing again up on this Team Liquid roster, I mean, it's definitely a roster that there has been a lot of that belief in. I mean, yes, Bradley, the only returning member, but when you're looking at members like Mir and newcomer in APA, I mean, there's definitely a lot good things to be said about this team. Mir in particular, someone who is doing fantastic in our regular season, even if the playoffs a little slept on. I'm excited to see what he can do today.
Mir is one of those players that it kind of sucks because it hasn't really been his meta and what he likes to generally play like in the past when we look at Honda Life and we even look to when he was in OS. But yet he still has been doing a great job of how he wants to control the game, how he tries to get control over his opponent junglers, especially like you look at how he was against Kevy, constantly making it difficult for Kevy to look for a lot of those plays in the series, or when he does get some of his champions, like this Lee Sin, that guy shows how mechanically gifted that he can be.
Yeah, something I'll add too is that Mir, even though it isn't his meta, he's still been the best jungler in the league. And it's just been unreal how he's been able to adapt, even though these aren't the champions that we've known him for these last couple of years. And that's why he's another player that we've been looking at as a potential MVP candidate.
We'll have to see if that's going to be then enough heading into today, because we've already said goodbye to one of our teams and one more is about to join them. The playoffs are rough, and saying goodbye to one of these strong teams is definitely devastating, but I'm hoping that they can give us a fantastic match as our draft is ready and it's time to see what these teams are going to be offering us today.
That we shall. Both teams had very rough series yesterday. Golden Guardians against IMTC, barely clutching out the 2-1. TLC barely clutching out the 2-1 against CLG Challengers themselves. And so going into this series, well, maybe APA has a lot of confidence that they're going to stop this series. Yep. I feel like Golden Guardians, the renaissance they've had in the last few weeks of the regular season, as well as just how scrappy they have been all playoffs long, this is going to be a team that I think is going to really upset expectations going against Team Liquid Honda Challengers.
One thing I will say is that Golden Guardians of a team is not even just the last couple of weeks of regular season. It's the fact that they were actually a really strong team throughout the rest of the split. It was their first 2-3 weeks where they struggled, and then all of a sudden they turned it around. And the reason I want to bring that up is because we even talked about it as a team where we wouldn't really give Golden Guardians a lot of props for the fact that they ended up finishing very high in the standings and actually ended up having, even though they, I believe they lost the tiebreaker, if I'm remembering
They lost
correctly.
The tiebreaker to
They
Fear.
did. That's right. But I mean, it's Fear, one of the best teams we have. Overall, Golden Guardians have been that team where they even took Cincinnati Fear, who were still in the upper brackets 2-3 games. This is a team you cannot underestimate.
Well, that series has actually concluded. You can go look it up yourself. I won't spoil it for you, Pete, just because it has ended. But we're into our series here, the second one, as we look at the draft now. That Lee Sin, that Mir has been playing very well. In fact, was one of the main reasons why they were able to beat Wildcard in the upper bracket 2-1 was based off the performance that Mir had on this champion. In fact, I believe he got 11 kills in one of those games as Lee Sin. He was absolutely powerful. But looking at what else has been let through, having banned away Jarvan by TLC, they let Sejuani go into the hands of Rosethorn or possibly Concept.
Yeah, that's true. It is a flex for them, and it's worth noting too. You see TLC banned away some of those other early junglers, like the Jarvan's taken out. Golden Guardians banned Lee Sin, like you said. So they were expecting this kind of handshake. Mir has also been great on the Wukong as well. So seeing him be able to lock that in is impactful. He's so good in the early game at being able to impact, especially the bottom lane, really help Arrow and Kim down get through the early laning phase.
Though having Zeri and Lulu picked up for Array Prismal, we were just praising Prismal and how good he has been at like initiating a lot of these plays, being the guy who starts everything off. Well, Rakan taken early by Kim Down, probably Kim Down's best performing champion in this split as well. Well, instead they're like, okay, we're gonna really bolster up Array. Make sure this is gonna be Array's game to play, having peel from both Lulu and Sejuani.
Yeah, they've played a lot of Zeri Lulu. It was Array's most played champion in the regular split by a ridiculous margin. The last time I checked going into that last week, he had 16 Zeri games, and his second most played was Lucian at 4.
Yeah. I remember you saying that before.
Ridiculous. So he's very comfortable on this champion. It kind of reminds me of Yon from last year, because we talked about how you guys talked about how Yon was the Zeri player, and Zeri's not as strong as she was back then, but Array is still trying to make that same mark.
Hey, in the right hands, I feel like Zeri is still just as strong.
Pretty good.
We did see, I think it was a pentakill from Zeri on the LCS stage pretty recently as well. So this champion still can do a lot. Yeah, Neo, we've had a lot of players who can still pilot this champion very well. But now looking at the second part of the draft, we have a lot of mid laners taken away. APA has a very deep champion pool. And looking at what is still left open, that Cassiopeia that was one of the big reasons why TLC were able to win Game 3 against CLG, taken off the board. But I was looking at Aurelion Sol, Vigar, his Ziggs, something that he can play. But I am really curious if they want to blind that Ziggs. And wow, okay, they do.
Wow, I'm surprised as well, but you banned away a lot of those Assassins picks. They banned a lot of Assassins, actually.
Yeah.
They banned away the Sylas, the Akali, the LeBlanc, so you're a lot more comfortable playing something like this. This is one of APA's specialty champions. He's been playing it for years in the mid lane.
Aurelia play?
Does
Young play Aurelia, though? That's the big
Young
thing.
does play Aurelia. He is a big Aurelia player, so it could be something he locks in, but they are really lacking in magic damage, so I wouldn't be surprised if Young still went the AP route.
The only reason I consider that still is having Sejuani, right? You have Sejuani, the double melee from mid and from top lane really would be something spicy to bring to the table for Young. And I'm just waiting. I want to see what we get. If we don't get something too spicy, but I do like Orianna. I think Orianna is in a really good state at the moment.
I believe this is Young's first Ori game in recent memory, at least for me. He's that melee specialist that we talk about a lot. You're going to probably have trouble in getting pushed into Ziggs, but your teamfight prowess is so important here. And I mean, props to Young being that player who, look at all the melee bans he gets for himself, and he's willing to pull out the mage champions, learn different kinds of champions.
And ending out the draft for Team Liquid.
Okay.
We have Bradley's Gangplank. This is the champion that last year when Bradley first role swapped from mid to top lane, it was his Gangplank that everyone would talk about how great he was on this champion, even pioneering the Prowler's Claw back before a lot of other people started really latching onto that. He was the guy who constantly would play that to show just how powerful it could be as well, still having that scaling. Now, I believe he does go more for the Trinity Force as his build path, but it's just having comfort across the board for TLC. Kim down on Rakan, APA on Ziggs, Bradley on Gangplank in your first match up against Golden Guardians, especially with Array playing his comfort in Zeri. I like this look for both teams with their backs up against the wall, the do or die best of 3. They're trying to play what they feel most comfortable on.
Yeah, I will say too, it's kind of funny. Bradley has been playing tanks these last couple of series. In Game 3 against CLG was his 8th game in a row. So it's looking like he got his Team Liquid Challengers punch card filled up, and he gets one Gangplank game.
And depending on how he does in this one, maybe he can get another one. As everyone's loaded up onto the Rift, line of scrimmage set out upon by both teams, neither wanting to lose control early on into such a critical series. Their tournament lives on the line, whether they punch out now in the top 8, or if they can continue their march forward into top 6.
Now things gonna start off slow. Spam in chat, by the way, who you think is gonna win. TLC, of course, getting a lot of love, but Golden Guardians not to be underestimated, like we did all split long. To be honest, Magical, and now they find themselves in this top 8 position, looking to advance further towards that top 6. And I mean, it's a lot of what we usually see from this Golden Guardians roster, with the exception of Young on the Orianna. Again, not something we're used to seeing him play. He even talked to me this morning, actually. I asked him about his experience on Golden Guardians, and he talked to me about how it's been great for him, and one of the things that he's been trying to do all split is readjust his way of thinking how to play the game, and also learn more than his usual types of champions. And we're seeing that start to culminate today.
I was just about to say, Orianna, not something we're too used to. It's always about those assassins, the melees. That's why I was highlighting that Aurelia, just because there's been something that he has busted out in do-or-die scenarios. And while there are players on his team that did get more of the comfort, especially looking at Array, he is playing more of the expanded style, going up against APA's comfort in Ziggs.
And right now, you already see Array and Prismal getting that push towards the bottom side. We talk about how important bot prio has been for the securing of Dragons, getting that early rotation to secure Rift Herald as well. And with Rosethorn starting on that bot side heading towards top, there is an opening for Mir potentially. As you can see it, he's full clearing top side. So often plays for the bottom lane of Arrow and Kim down, and now has that perfect opportunity to do it again.
As I was looking top lane, well, I know Kangas likes to only focus on top lane around 14 minutes into the game, but never again. When you have Concept on the Rift, it's always fun to watch because regardless of what champion he plays like he does his Singed, looking for the proxy farm at every opportunity. And we even saw that he was looking for that Inkling briefly against Bradley, but having no idea where Mir is, he decided instead to fall back, look for a little bit more trading against Bradley to try to force him out the best he can, but he is struggling just a little bit.
Here we go. We got a tweet from Stacy sending positive winning vibes to Team Liquid and APA, the boys. You've got this. Really nice. Of course, if you don't know, that is APA's mom.
Well, let's see if that worked here for Bradley in the top lane, as he is getting dove by 2 tanks.
He's one of the boys.
The best he can. Had flash, but didn't use it. Instead, he will fall to first blood as Rosethorn did not die.
Respect that he holds on to his flash, forces Rosethorn to use his, but he's not going to risk flashing and dying. So he wasn't able to turn things around. Will TP back to lane with just the call. The dive is pretty big because Gangplank wants to TP back to lane when he has Sheen. That already kind of hurts Bradley's early laning phase here on this Gangplank.
Slows down Bradley by a lot, and really will put the onus on Mir to make sure the bot lane play works out so well. So that way it gives a bit more reprieve to Bradley in this top lane, so that he can start to farm up that call a little bit more, wait out a long time before he looks for his back.
Right. And when you look, I mean, Bradley's still going to have a lot of ways to have an overall impact. And my eyes are actually on both the solo lanes here for TLC. For that reason being, you have the Mega Inferno Bomb from APA, that's semi-global ult. You have the Cannon Barrage. Oh my god, wait.
Bradley, you gotta be careful fighting up against Concept. And yeah, he just got one more Q. Bradley is playing right outside of that area. It won't get pulled back in. Was able to heal up enough with the biscuits he had in his inventory.
Oh, now Mir is here, but is spotted out.
That's
wow,
so
that's a lot of words. Yeah, so it's good. It's important for Golden Guardians to keep an eye on TLC's jungler. And now he can play for the Demolish. He can play like he's being aggressive, not give away. They know Mir's position. But again, I'm still looking at Bradley and APA. They have ults that can help facilitate this bot lane as well. APA, you can see he's already getting the push like we talked about. We'll have those openings post 6 to move, help the bot side, drop that Mega Inferno Bomb to help secure dives, and Bradley can help with his ultimate too.
Rosethorn's back in the top lane, looking for another dive onto Bradley. Still has that
Bradley, I
flash out
missed
from
you so
last time.
much.
He's like, hey, long time no see. Let's look for this dive again. And he flashes this time around, but still stunned up.
Oh,
He's getting a
Rosethorn?
good
He's
trade against Rosethorn. One taken down by Bradley, denying the dive a second time around. Even looking to see if he can press his luck against Concept. This Concept did hit level 6 and could have gone all out.
Yeah, Bradley holding onto his flash really pays off there. Now that he didn't have the teleport, that's the dive you really need to survive.
Okay.
And now Bradley has level 6 as well. Concept, you can't do this.
He does get the pull back in with a Q, but like you said, you do not want to look for this. Cannon barrage with a couple barrels. You're low enough that even if you go all out, you're just that much squishier for Bradley to execute.
Now it's going to be first Dragon, started up by Team Liquid. AP is getting this push. Came down an Arrow, also doing the same. But Rosethorn now is in the area, has spent some gold. There's that potential for the steal, but you're really risking your life if you go
Difficult.
for it.
It's difficult. Bot lane had advantages and still has advantages for TLC, and you can look for them as they
no
look
flash,
for
remember.
Rosethorn. No flash, no dash, no way out. They pick up the kill, but all the while, Bradley died to Concept top lane.
Oh, okay. Concept managed to get the solo, but ultimately you go 1-for-1 across the map, and Team Liquid, they get that first Dragon, so we call that worth when
Yeah.
we are crunching the numbers. But that is a nice play there from Concept, who's now going up to 2-0, and really quick. I want to talk about Concept briefly.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's talk about Concept. because
Concept is literally like, he's really surprised me this split. He's a player who I watched a lot in the semi-pro scene, even in the lows, and we're talking about like UPL. If you know, you know. But he's
Concept
improved
effects.
a lot, that's right, and all those other nicknames. But he's really turned it around. This split in particular, not just on his signature champions, but even on the ones that his team require him to play. And you saw it. Solo killed Bradley. He's got a nice CS lead on top of those kills. Concept looking to be a menace this game.
Well, and Concept as a player, you know, he has a very, very unique champion pool. Like his Mundo,
Yeah.
his Singe were the talks of the town last year when he first joined Immortals Academy. This is what everyone would praise him for, was the beefy front lines, the
yeah, that's right.
meatballs, the stat checkers. And yet, since then, he hasn't really played that much of them because they've fallen out of favor. They haven't been nearly as powerful, and Concept was forced to adapt and change. And we saw that he did struggle when he was last summer with Golden Guardians for the summer split, and even at the beginning of this split. But as you talked about, his growth as a player, getting used to a lot of these champions and showing such a better positioning on how he can use every bit of the mechanics of something like Cassante to get advantages against Bradley, the two-time champion, on his signature champion in gameplay.
That's right. We love to see improvements here from our players in the NACL. Winning is great, but the real victory is the development we made along the way. So shout out to Concept, Golden Guardians as a whole. They secure the Rift Herald because they rotated their whole team. And Arrow wisely just staying down. It's going to be able to pick up 2 plates in trade. Actually, getting the third would be huge because that's about more than what you'd expect when you end up getting something like the Rift Herald.
He wanted to, but they realized how many people were on their way bot lane. So he peels back with Kim down to scare away Array and Prismal with Rosethorn in tow, so that they'll catch some of the minion waves and not actually lose that plate. But now TLC could look to reinstigate a position onto Rosethorn or look for Prismal, who doesn't have that wild growth available.
Yeah, just a little bit of a look-see, setting up some vision, asserting some dominance into Rosethorn's side of the map. But now they got to walk their way back to the spot lane because you can see Array and Prismal trying to shove things out. And Bradley, now he has the Sheen. Now you see him having a little more fun in these trades.
Looking a lot more damage with their ults again. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another all-out from Concept. Look for that trade, as he does have at least some armor built up to compete against Bradley and survive a little bit more of that poke.
And now things have kind of slowed back down. Eyes are still on Rosethorn to find value from this Rift Herald. Dive towards the top lane would be tough. Bradley has the ult and the flashback online. You have Array, who's actually fallen behind. A lot of these rotations coming through. Arrow and Kim down naturally managing to pick up this lead. Bot side has actually gotten to some pretty big lead.
Yeah, look at this, though. Ray Prismal, top side of the map, they're just role swapping it out, trying to instead get a bit of an easier lane for Array so he can get some gold back against Arrow. But TLC were hot on that call. They're like, okay, we can crash wave, get that third plate for Arrow, and then recall, send them into the top lane to match Array and Prismal, never giving them an opportunity to get that gold to compete against Arrow.
And you can just see the bit of ping pong here. Right after that wave crashes, Array Prismal, they're already gone. And you can see Concept
like,
backing on the other side of the map as well. So everyone's just going back to their regular assignments. You see the pings coming through here. And this is actually a little awkward. Bradley might have to use the teleport to make it topside, because of the fact that, I mean, he's still bot.
I mean, the thing is, do they even care about that is my question, because Arrow can get at least one more plate in the top lane. More gold funneled into your marksman.
Oh my god, yeah, if Arrow actually gets the second, which is looking like he won't.
Barely not. No.
Yeah.
Look at Kim Down. Kim Down was pathing down towards mid lane, and he was about to show. So Arrow making the wise call, realizing that that's probably not a good option for him to try to compete against Concept, who already has smithing.
Still, you managed to get more turret plates overall. Array is consistently getting that 2v1 that he's hoping for, considering the laning phase. And there's this potential dive here onto Bradley. This is the play Golden Guardians need with that Rift Herald.
Bradley's barrels were both taken away by Array. 2 plates for Golden Guardians. Getting that gold that they've been desperately trying to for Array. It's Array on Zeri, the champion that he's played more than any in the spring split and has looked so good on throughout all of it. Really does want to get to that point where he has that first mythic and can get in these team fights to pop off and have that Zeri certified moment.
That's right. And now Team Liquid for Challengers, looking for their moments as they have all 5 members on this bottom side. They are letting Concept just chip away at this turret until they are sure it's safe for Bradley to leave. That is a bit of sacrifice here, but not for nothing. Team Liquid are halfway to that soul point, and it is going to be the Hex Tech Soul, the most powerful one we have in the game. So that is a big thing for them to play for.
Big one for Arrow, APA, and Bradley to play with as well. That's, like you said, that's going to help them out a lot. But I do like that Concept was still able to get nearly 4 plates of this top lane turret with only a minute remaining with plates standing. Plus, they got the charge mid lane. There is that extra bit of gold Golden Guardians have gotten for themselves that they can look to utilize to keep fighting around these upcoming dragons and have just incremental leads over Team Liquid Challengers. But it really is going to be off the back of how well Rosethorn with Young and Concept are going to be the ones engaging, since it's not going to be Prismal this time around, who usually is who they fall back to.
And I'm looking for what Team Liquid Challengers are looking to do, because it's worth noting, plates are going to fall in less than 30 seconds, but the first brick is still up for grabs here by both sides. I mean, top side is an easy look for Golden Guardians. There's only 1 plate left, but that's why you can see on the minimap, APA and Mir, they're playing in fog. Even APA, I like it. He's just hanging out in the darkness to make Golden Guardians question whether or not he's actually on the move. And getting that first brick would be Team Liquid's way back into the map. I mean, we talk about Ziggs as a champion, very good at taking down structures. And actually getting this opportunity now, Arrow should be able to pick up that first brick. Oh, nope. Never mind.
Concept making sure it's this ebb and flow between the 2 teams, neither wanting to give that advantage. First brick gold, and Mir caught in transition, hitting the flash out of him as well as the wrong monkey. Going to be the distraction for Golden Guardian so that Mir can barely survive, but that flash is now burned.
Yeah, that's great timing. Mir has to go back, farm the Krugs to get some of that health back because of sweet jungle privilege.
Prismal's like, hey, I might be Lulu, but I can still engage, right? I can still be all the way out here, but you can't. You're Lulu, my friend.
Oh, that's not good, as now Kim Down finds an angle.
Getting the flash out of Rosethorn as well. That's the cannon barrage slowed down Rosethorn, even getting him dashed away as Array will escort the 4 back towards the turret. That means they're relenting control around this Rift Herald. Team Liquid Challengers in a good position, but they gotta be careful because Mir, being as low as he is, with no flash and no ult that he can utilize to disengage, have to play so cautiously. And all this while, Prismal, who died at the very onset of all of it, has respawned and is pathing back towards a potential re-engaged fight around this Rift Herald.
And it's worth noting, Young is still here with ult. Concept is also here. Those are two big team fight ultimates that Golden Guardians could look to play for. But instead, Golden Guardians, they want their front row seats to TL getting that second Rift Herald. And that's going to be important because we're 2 minutes till this next Drake. And that's an easy opportunity for Team Liquid. Drop it mid, allow APA to use the satchel charge to knock that turret down. And you just walk your way down to the Dragon, which will be their soul point.
It was really risky for Golden Guardians to continue with that fight around it. They didn't have the health bars that really worked out. Rose Thorn was too low. Didn't have a good angle to get back into the pit either. That's why he had recalled. Instead, just he farmed up the bottom half of the map so that way he can book it back towards the top half and look to see if they can topple that structure and get that first brick gold.
And it's looking like it's going to go into a race pocket there, unless...
The race!
Okay,
Bradley's
so Bradley
winning!
I mean,
right.
Bradley needed it. Let's be honest. With how his early game has been going, how much attention Rose Thorn is putting topside in the first few minutes, I mean, that's some gold he could very much use. You see the Essence Reaver come through. Call is almost finished. So Bradley shouldn't be too far behind. Still looking to scale pretty hard.
Does it actually count that Bradley won because he had Demolish proc while Ray didn't?
Hey, man, you got the gold. That's all that matters.
Yeah, fair. And getting the gold he has, plus that call, has finished. He can collect extra gold when he goes back to base to sell that as well. Bradley definitely jumpstart back into this game. He's got that Essence Reaver. Sure, doesn't have the second item yet, but of course, wasn't enough gold to actually get that. Just gets him relatively even and closer to Concept when he was a full item behind him.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Caulfields, you got the Crit Cloak. That's not bad, all things considered. And we see that the vision toggle here. Team Liquid did such a good job setting up this I want to say pocket, but it's just this huge block of darkness here that Golden Guardians weren't able to do anything about. That's why they just walked it through mid and are trying to pressure this mid lane. But now it's what we talked about. Herald dropped mid, wave is cleared, and
Crash.
Oh nope, Shelly.
Body blocking it the best they can, hitting the eye. They do stop the charge.
They got it.
And now, wait a minute, Kim down. He's caught out having tried to defend Shelly getting the crash.
Wow, that's a big deal. Now you lose your support. It's only 14 seconds, but it's 5 versus 4. Golden Guardians, they want to pull the trigger.
But 2 ults had been used by Golden Guardians, so they use Concept to go for the engage, but they're cut off. They can't all engage because the Cannon Barrage keeps them at bay. They get a lot of damage to the backline with Shockwave only onto Mir. Taking them low, but not low enough. They have the Honey Fruits that they can heal back up and look for that Dragon.
There it is. Remember, this is the Hextech map. They stalled long enough on TL's side because Kim Down is now going to be basically here with the use of those Hex gates, but it's Mir. He's looking for the angle. The teleport is coming through, and Golden Guardian is not letting this go.
Hasn't been spotted out. Double TPs. Getting everyone here. Kim Down re-engaging.
There it is.
The quickness into the back line. Getting Concept to get a lot of attention to himself as they get the all out, and they found Kim Down. The engage is gone, but the flank is there that they needed. Mir, make sure they take down the jungler. So with a double kill for APA, looking for more bombs. Mir continues the pressure that nobody will escape from the monkey's paws.
I think that's 3 kills there for Mir. The angle pays off, and Golden Guardians, they used their ult the first time around, and that is a big part of their team fight. Team Liquid, they collect their soul point, and they have earned themselves a 2,000 gold lead. Wow. APA, that's bullying.
APA bullying, but all that play, you had called out Mir and his positioning, the flank, unmarked by Golden Guardians that allowed him to get right onto the back line. They get the Dragon, they get everything possible, and let's take a look and just keep an eye on Mir on the minimap.
Yeah, right, and the big thing here is that, of course, Prismal is walking up, and the double teleport comes in from the solo laners of Golden Guardians. But again, like you said, Alex, the minimap, they just don't have the information where this Wukong is, and it's also props to Kim Down, because remember, short spawn timers, Hex portals means that Kim Down got back to this fight very, very quickly. Even though he dies again, he gave TL everything they needed.
And right there, that's where Mir, he had waited so long to look for that engage, even with Kim Down having got his own, and he sure dying to Concept. It was all in plan to make sure that the fight was split up by the monkey.
And he did it beautifully. Team Liquid Challengers overall playing this game out very nicely. Even though there were some stumbles, the point is they got their soul point. They're winning out on these team fights, and you can see it. Their carries are reaching those crucial item spikes. APA already has the fully stacked Seraphs coming through here. Arrow is working towards item number 2. And now in 4 minutes, Golden Guardians have quite the challenge to face. And it is deny TL their soul.
Hextech Soul on top of that. Even more difficult that if you lose that, you're fighting a huge uphill battle against the kiting potential that you'll have from Array, from Arrow, from APA, and from even Bradley.
Right, I mean, speaking of APA, or rather Array, excuse me, is getting to that point, that 2-item mark where Zeri really starts to turn it up once you have that Navori Quick Blades. So my eyes are also on that, Alex, because Array's a player that we know to be a very good team fighter, even before Resolve when he played with APA. I'm talking Supernova days.
Nearly caught out there.
They got him.
Re-engaged from Kim down. Takes down one as Rosethorn getting the best he can away from the targets. But the flank from Bradley. Brisbane flashing away, but no escape. And with Baron on the line, that is horrific for Golden Guardians.
And Golden Guardians, they didn't even get the team fight that they were playing for. They got picked off one by one, and all they have to show for it is a mid-tier 1 turret. But Team Liquid Challengers, they are locking down the big purple worm. That's 3 minutes of extra powerful minions.
With 2 minutes and 15 seconds right about now left until the Hextech Soul could be fought over by Team Liquid. That gives them so much extra time to get even more gold accrued into their coffers so that they can come back on the fight when it comes to that dragon even stronger than ever thought before.
And I will say, Team Liquid are up 4,000, and there were still 2 outer turrets to take. So there's even more gold that they are about to collect with this Baron buff. Take away camps from Rosethorn. Maintain control of this game. It's been clean. It's been mostly clean from Team Liquid Challengers, and now Young, remember, no flash, has no idea Kim Down's here.
Such a difficult turret to defend as well. That's why Young, it looked a little dicey for a second, calling for reinforcements out of Rosethorn. We'll spot that Kim Down was nearby. This turret will fall. Extra gold picked up by APA. Continuing to get all that they need to. And looking at the upcoming fights, they don't really need to have any kills. Not until another minute and 15 when they look to fight over the Hextech Dragon.
And I like what TL are doing with their lane assignments. Playing for 2 lanes, and they're actually just keeping Bradley away from Concept. Concept's just been on his own kind of split pushing, which is all well and good because he's picking up a lot of gold, but it's allowed Bradley to, shadow his AD carry, shadow his bot lane while they continue to knock down more structures. And you see the hourglass on the Dragon Pit. You see the timer in the top left corner, Alex. It's crunch time for Golden Guardians Challengers. They can't let this soul go. It has an absurdly high win rate because it is such a powerful buff.
They saw Mir. They see Bradley on the other side. They're even getting the TP out of Concept. They're looking to hunt down one member because a pick could actually help them, especially with looking for the fight in 25 seconds around it. But it took them so long to actually get on top of anyone. Concept is the one marked by Team Liquid. APA still hasn't gotten to the fight, but they've got a lot of damage as they look to re-engage. Mir is the one they need to take out of the equation, but they just couldn't as Concept is so low. The bomb doesn't do any damage to Concept just yet. But with Golden Guardians, the one trying to fish for a fight, getting taken so low, that gives Team Liquid this advantage they were hunting for around the dragon.
Brutal. Concept forced to recall, doesn't have the teleport to play with. Team Liquid, they get their soul despite all of Golden Guardians' attempts. And now they have the permanent buff that they are looking to use to close this game out. Golden Guardians, they have to play for the Elder.
Have to, and that's so difficult. It's 6 minutes off until you have that, and with Baron about to time out for Team Liquid, they have that they can fight over even sooner, utilizing this Hextech Soul to kite back Golden Guardians. We already saw them struggle right there to get on top of any members. They're going to struggle now to even get out of a fight as Young dies underneath the tier 2. The re-engage on the APA, but flashes. Mir doing his best to kite back and get some damage as Kim Down taken low by Concept, but Mir got rid of Prismal with Bradley showing up just in the nick of time to get Arrow a killing spree as Array and Rosethorn have to bail from the structure. The turret will fall to Team Liquid.
And that's an inhibitor at the very least here. Team Liquid, they've taken down so many members and they've collected so much gold. They're knocking on Golden Guardians' doors as that bottom inhibitor is about to go down.
They have a Ziggs on their team. If they wanted to, if they felt confident enough with every damage they had, they could have looked for it, except for how early it still is in the game.
Yeah.
Young, Prismal both having respawned would have been a really risky play for Team Liquid, and they play this one incredibly safe and not willing to risk.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a horrible blunder. I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm also glad that they walked away from it. And it's okay. Remember, it's Gangplank. And he should be fine. Nobody else is here. It's just Storm.
They're just trying to. I think he's just trying to stop back from Bradley. But now Rosethorn, you're in a bad position. You were trying to cancel the recall from Bradley, but now he's gotten 2 items. You're not taking enough to survive against him, especially with only the Warmogs.
Yeah, now, they're on the
these slows, man. These slows from the Hex Tech Soul are so brutal. It forces out the ult, and now you both die to the monkey because of it.
And that's an easy double for Beer. I mean, the rest of the team is showing up. These are long. These aren't too long of spawn timers, but Team Liquid could at least start battering on those Nexus turrets. Take down some of these waves. Maybe, yeah, they might be able to do it, but they're waiting for the wave.
All right, they still got a Zig, so they could take down one structure, but with Rosethorn spawning, Brisbane soon to get up as well, and as you talked about, it's very low death timers at this point in the game. I think they only get the one. They should be able to get one Nexus turret with members of Golden Guardians doing their best to try to clear away the minion waves. There goes the one structure initially taken. As Concept have found Kim down as Rosethorn got too low too. Flashing away as Kim down. Bradley getting the fight against Concept, but he could re-engage, but Concept with the shield popped had to survive, but he still dies to the burn from APA.
Oh, are they doing
Team
this?
Liquid opening up the Nexus. Golden Guardians though, they still have to be careful. They have to defend the space valiantly with Array getting a little bit of damage on the other side with low members on a Team Liquid Honda Challengers still in the base, looking to re-engage. Array kiting back the best he can, but he could not get away. And Team Liquid Honda Challengers will take game 1 to Golden Guardians.
Oh, and I love the synchronous of the emotes there for the ace and the end. Really good play there from Team Liquid Challengers. It just felt like from start to finish, there was little for Golden Guardians to be able to do here. And that's it, 1-0. Now Golden Guardians find themselves facing elimination from the tournament.
But they did this yesterday as well against IMPC, and they were still able to battle their way back. We're going to see if they have what it takes left in them to do that again, 2 days in a row, or if Team Liquid Honda Challengers can continue their run in the lower bracket to attempt to reclaim the throne for a 3rd time in a row. For now, we're going to toss it to a break, and when we come back, we'll have our Rally Cry halftime show with Sierra, so make sure you stay tuned.